Hello, what's up everybody? This is Todd here. This is a quick and short and sweet review video on the BougeRV dual zone 48 liter cooler that I've got. I purchased this last May 2024 on Amazon for roughly $2.25. I want to say it was about $225, $229 on sale. This is the 48 liter as advertised 50 quart dual zone 12/24. As you can see, it's a medium-sized one. It's not the huge one, the 80 liters. I believe they come in actually even bigger than the 80 liters. But what I like about this one the most is its flexibility and ability to move and carry it. Even when it is loaded up with food, it is still manageable to do, just to move it around. I like the fact that it's got the dual zone. This is really killer for me because when I go camping, I normally put in the stuff that I'm eating or cooking that day. And then the freezer is really helpful to store ice packs and all your meats for the following day. The other thing that I really like about the dual zone is that it gives you a little bit of flexibility. If you wanted to have both freezers or both fridges, you could. Now it's going to be a little bit hard to see it in the sun here, but right now 0 degrees Celsius for the cooler side. I've got to take that up a bit. What you could do is you could just adjust it 2 to 3, and then to get over to the freezer side, you just have to press the negative and then the settings button to move that over. So I do really like that. Another thing I really like is it shows you your voltage too, especially if you're on solar or on batteries. Right now it's showing 13.3 volts, and we're running this off of a Bluetti power pack with a 100-watt solar panel attached to it. So another thing that I really like about this unit is the handles. The handles are sturdy and allow me to carry it. What I typically do is I typically get this plugged in using the wall converter. There is a 120 to 12 converter. I'll get it plugged in, I'll get it up to temp at the house, and then I will throw all of my freezer items in and my steaks and whatever else I'm taking out camping. By doing that, you save a little bit of strain on your car's electrical system, and you keep everything up to temp while you're packing basically to go camping. So that's what I like to do, is get it plugged in at the house, get it up to temp, get everything where it needs to be, and then move it via the handles. Keep in mind, this is a compressorized unit. The compressor, I believe, is in here. So they do recommend in the manual to avoid moving it and then replugging it in. Basically, it states something along the lines of don't shake and don't jostle it. So you got to be very careful when you are moving these and replugging these in. So what I do typically is I get these up to temp, and then I have these ice packs in here. And then what I'll do is when I transfer this over to the truck or the trailer, I'll take some ice packs and put them in here, and I'll give it about a half hour or 20 minutes just to get it settled before I plug in on the DC side. The other thing that I want to note about too is for all you guys that are off-grid and overlanding, I do really quite like the draw of it. So, you know, once it's up to temp, it doesn't really draw a ton. We're only seeing 0.3 of an amp. It's advertised 45 watts on eco mode and 60 watts on high. Mind you, this is actually, yeah, this is to temp right here, 0 and 10 minus 9 degrees. Kind of hard to see, but when you come over to here on your Bluetti, you can see we've got 30 hours to run this thing at 100% with the 100 watts of solar panels tied in. So the draw on this is really low. Today on fire up here, I saw anywhere from 30 to 52 watts. So when they're saying 60 watts is advertised, I'm assuming that's got to be extreme worst case scenario where you've got, you know, plus 30 Celsius. It's very hot outside. This thing's working hard. So for those of you that are into the overland style items, I quite would recommend this. All the instructions are on the side here. So it's press the on button Long press 3 seconds to turn off. Temp control on the left is just done up here, plus and negative. If I wanted to change the right side, which is here, shown here, it's negative and then settings, and then it'll get you into the second temperature control. Max and Eco is just based on the, it's hard to see there, but it is in max on high. That is simply just press the settings to go into Eco mode or max. So right now it is in Eco, and then to go from high, medium to low, hold 3 seconds into the screen flashes, then press the settings button again. So I quite, you know, if you were energy conscious, you could really run this and you wouldn't be drawing a ton. On Eco, you might see anywhere from 20 to 40 watts. But for me, mostly I just leave it in max on high, and then that maintains my temperatures really good. So now for the drawbacks of this unit, the main drawback for me that I've found is the handles. I don't know if you could see that. There's not a lot of plastic there. So this is obviously last year's model, but I quite find that this handle isn't great. It's not a huge thing. You just got to slam it and push it in. But there's times where if I were to just do this, it doesn't close, right? And then that leads me to the second drawback of this unit is the cutting board stall here. This really isn't great. It just seems to want to slide out, as you saw there. So I'm going to push it in, throw that in here. Yeah, you can tighten this all the way in, but I'm afraid to strip that out. So long story short, I don't really use this, and I might just remove this completely. But that's the two drawbacks that I found, is you pretty much have to do that. It's a two-step to close the handles. The other drawback that I have on this unit is just the wheeled versus non-wheeled discussion. And that's more or less a personal thing here. I chose to get this unit without the wheels because I thought it would be a little bit easier to move when it's loaded up. But I'm not so sure. When it's loaded up, if you got a lot of frozen meats in here, and let's say you've got some fresh produce and eggs, it would be nice to have wheels. But then the other drawback is that it is a fridge with a compressor in it that probably shouldn't be tipped and then moved and replugged in. So the drawback for me with this unit is I almost should have went with the wheeled version, especially when it's loaded up. If I don't go super heavy with it, it's manageable. It is manageable up to about here. But if you're really loaded up, you almost need two people to move this, especially if you're going camping and you're in any sort of rough and rocky ground. So that's about the only drawbacks that I have on this unit. I did have this unit plugged in my bike shop all summer. It ran flawlessly. I used the AC adapter, which is not pictured. And like I said, I was happy with the draw. When it's just sitting here, it's really not drawing a ton. I saw up to 3 amps today, maybe even 4 on startup, but no more than that. So plenty of space, especially if you've got solar to it. Another positive about this unit is it does have the solar hookup over here. So if you wanted to just go panel direct to that would be, sufficient. But obviously you got to have direct sun, and obviously you're not going to have your fridge/freezer combo running all night. So that's why it is better to go with a power pack. Now, based on the power pack usage, I am happy with seeing it here. It's showing 30 hours. The new generation has a its own battery, and this one actually has it too. So I believe if you pry in here, I have to get that open. But if this generation, if you get this open, there is the ability to throw a battery in here, and then you could just charge that battery. But for all intensive purposes, I think the power pack is the play. And there is also a bottle opener. Have not used that, but the other last thing that I really like about it is these drawer handles are removable. So if you wanted to move these, you could. So this it'll just slide out, and you could slide it in here, and then it'll latch over there. So that is also a positive for this thing. But other than that, I will stop the video, and I highly recommend this product. There are a few things that I hope they fixed in the next generation, which would be the latches and the cutting board. But other than that, I am really happy with it, and the electrical draw is phenomenal, especially if you are doing any sort of overlanding or boondock.